on to our next overreaction. Little teaser, I feel very strongly about this next overreaction. And if you listen to our last show, you know why. Juan Soto makes the Yankees a World Series team.
Juan Soto looks good as a New York Yankee. In fact, he's rocking the high socks.
I love it.
He looks good.
Ugh.
But what I will say, Juan Soto makes the Yankees a World Series contender. That is not an overreaction. No. I really do believe that. And to be fair, Alex, you had them in the World Series.
I had them getting to the World Series.
And I have them. I think
Juan
we
Soto.
both. I had Juan Soto as MVP.
Yeah.
Obviously Alex did. I had them. I thought better than most people were saying the Yankees were going to be. And there is we can talk depth with them and can they withstand injuries? Well, they're already having to do that with Garrett Cole down. So I absolutely think the addition of Juan Soto makes the Yankees a World Series contender. Their lineup, it's just different. Yeah. And you can say like, well, one player in a 9-person lineup, it's just different. Having Juan Soto and Aaron Judge back-to-back in that lineup is honestly, it's unbelievable. And you start look at this stat. Most times on base, the first 4 games as a New York Yankee. You have Pat Collins at 12. You have Bob Watson at 12 in 1926. And Pat Collins was in 1926. Bob Watson in 1980. And Juan Soto in 2024 with 12. Yeah. He tied those guys. Pretty good.
And he's had like really big moments, like game 1, that game-saving throw at home plate, go ahead, hit it to like complete the sweep. Like he's just, you can feel the energy is different with Juan Soto being with the Yankees.
Everyone knows when you acquire Juan Soto, you're acquiring him for his defense. And that's what he showed in game 1 of the series. And he really did save. He did. The Yankees swept the Astros because of Juan Soto. That is definitely not an overreaction to say. And I already felt like the Yankees were World Series contenders and could possibly get there. I didn't have them getting there, but I did feel like they're World Series contenders already. And they showed that in series. Look, 4 games. Yeah, I hear you. It's just 4 games. Let's not overreact. But we're talking on the road in Houston against a team that is also a World Series contender and has been the best team in the American League for almost a decade. This was a good, fun, fairly big series to start the year. And I thought the Yankees showed how good they are. Carlos Rodon needs to pitch well. Yeah. He did. Nestor Cortez on opening day pitched well. So you have Nestor, you have Carlos Rodon, you have Stroman. I always liked that rotation, not in that order. It's going to go Garrett Cole. I think Carlos Rodon needs to be the 2 and be good, and Stroman. And then if you get Nestor doing what he did opening day, he looked really good. This team is good. And it's time people start realizing that. People either are diehard Yankees fans and say, we're going to win the World Series, or you're not a Yankees fan and say, they suck. They're not going to be very good. Juan Soto doesn't add enough. Stop it. Both of those things don't have to be true. It can be somewhere in the middle, and right now it's more so that the Yankees could be a World Series team. They are really good. It's time everybody realizes that. Carlos Rodon's going to be a stud for them this year. He looked great. Juan Soto, my MVP pick, looked great. This is not an overreaction. Juan Soto absolutely makes the Yankees a World Series contender.
I agree with you. Okay, now let's talk about the team that they swept with our next overreaction. The Houston Astros' reign in the American League is over.
Yeah, they didn't look good.
They didn't look good at all. Ben, the Astros' last win at home was game 1 of the ALDS on October 7th.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought people overblew that. The Astros do have a winning at home problem. But the Astros have a win at home a lot sooner. Most teams don't play in the playoffs. But yes, I get it. They played a lot of games in that time at home and haven't won one. And they still haven't. And people are saying the Astros might go 0-81 at home this year, and I can't discredit that. It looks like that might happen. Was my math right? I think it was. 0-81 at home. Is the Astros' reign in the AL over? Not is it. That's the overreaction question. I am going to say that is an overreaction. Here's why.
Okay.
This is the first year where I've been I feel like I'm always and have constantly been saying the Astros are inevitable. And I will still say that come playoff time this year because the Astros will be in the playoffs. and they might be in the ALCS again. But this is the first year where I feel like that gap in the American League is a little bit different. For the longest time, and this is still true until that changes, the Astros were the Yankees' daddy in the playoffs. It's just true. Let's call a spade here. The Yankees look like a little league team against the Astros in the playoffs. And until that changes, the Astros own the Yankees. And until the Baltimore Orioles prove that they can win in the playoffs, the Astros are still the Astros in the American League. But I do just feel like that window is getting tighter and tighter. And the Yankees that we just saw sweep the Astros in Series 1 and the Orioles, who look really good, I feel like those teams are now in contention to take that reign away from the Astros. But I'm not yet ready to say that their reign is over. The Astros are going to be good. They're going to get in the playoffs. And until somebody beats that team in the playoffs early on or consistently, I know they didn't win the World Series, and I know the Rangers beat them, but we're still looking at a team, although there are pitching issues right now, which is why they're struggling. Justin's not in the rotation. Framber didn't look great. The rotation is not in good place right now. But this team still has Jose Altuve, still has Yordan Alvarez, still has Kyle Tucker, still has Alex Bregman. And that's the core that has been there for a long time. And they're still there. So I am not ready to overreact and say that the Astros' reign is over. I will say it is an overreaction to say their reign is over. So, but they didn't look good. And they have pitching issues that they need to get figured out. Yeah, that's what I got for you.
Okay. Leads right into our final overreaction here, you guys. The Baltimore Orioles are now the top dog in the American League.
Yeah, so I just came off saying that the Astros' reign in the AL is over. That's an overreaction. But the Baltimore Orioles are the top dog in the American League. That is not an overreaction. And let me explain how both of these can be true at once. The Orioles look fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, my World Series pick in the American League to get there, not to win, was the Baltimore Orioles. And that doesn't shift at all for me after the first couple games. They look really good. Corbin Burns, fantastic. Gave up one hit. It was a homer to Mike Trout because, of course, it's Mike Trout. Grayson Rodriguez looked fantastic. But the ace that the Orioles needed was Corbin Burns. It changes the entire feel of this team.
Yeah.
They've already offensively, we saw it last year. This team's just different. This Orioles team is ready to compete and be really good for the next decade. It's the same blueprint the Astros had, and this just feels like the window has just creaked open if you're the Orioles. So you really feel like you're in a really good place. And I do feel like the Orioles are the top dogs in the American League. But they got to prove it. They got to prove it in the playoffs now. Like, I can sit here right now and say, after last year being the #1 seed in the American League and losing in the first round of the playoffs, and now seeing them at the start of this year after their addition of Corbin Burns, and saying, I think the Baltimore Orioles are the top dogs in the American League. But I'm not ready yet to say the Astros' reign is over until the Orioles beat the Astros in the playoffs. And this could be the year. And I am on record saying I think this will be the year.
Yeah.
But that's how both of these things are true at once. And we're not going to, these two questions aren't going to be answered until October. You know, like, the Astros' reign can't be considered over on March 31st or on April 1st. That's a preposterous thing to say. But the Orioles, to me, look like the top dog in the American League. I'm going to stick with that. So, Baltimore Orioles are the top dogs in the American League. That is not an overreaction. Thanks for watching. If you love flipping bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.